Oh, I need to scoot over?
No, that's good. If you could scoot over just a tiny bit. That's perfect.
Stop
moving the mic.
Oh, my bad.
We don't hear you, so you can hear him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's gonna pick you up.
Yeah,
Perfectly.
They're trying to say I'm
You're supposed to be the director. I'm your assistant today.
No, I fixed it. He keep
I'm your
moving
assistant
it.
today.
What? Okay.
A few moments later.
He can project.
We can both project.
But you're going to over project.
Yeah, but it looks weird. It's gonna look weird.
No, it's not. Put it back.
Okay. Like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. See you. Hey, every 5 minutes I'm gonna be like this.
Stop.
What's up? Bill McCleskey in the building with
My boy.
he said my boy.
Just be smooth. Can't stop to lie. Won't stop to lie. Can't stop to lie. Won't stop to lie. Can't stop to lie. Won't stop to lie. Ain't no cheat code. Just be smooth.
What's up, y'all? It's Bill McCleskey in the building once again with TechDontSleep podcast, and we have a special guest this time, none other than Jimmy Feeman.
Thanks for having me on, Bill.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to talk with you, Jimmy Feeman, and your wife Meg. Right? Is it Megan?
Yeah.
They are the owners of NoBaked Cookie Dough.com, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna dive into this, and we're gonna see how they grew this business using technology and just the strategies that they use to really grow the brand and the business. Because I had no clue what NoBaked Cookie Dough was.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm out of the loop.
Now you do. No,
Yeah.
you're definitely not out of the loop.
Okay.
It's a growing space.
I read up on it, man. But first, man, what we like to do is get to know you a little bit better. And the way we do that is by playing a game. All right. So we're going to play a quick game. It's called Fact or Fiction. All right. So all you have to do is tell me whether the statement I say is a fact or if it's fiction.
Got it.
Okay? Real simple. All right?
Cool.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, man. So I think this is tailored to your business too. So let's see. Pre-made refrigerated cookie dough was commercially available as early as the 1950s.
I'm gonna say fact.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
Good job. Cool. All right. Number 2. There is a museum dedicated to cookies in Cincinnati.
Man, I have a store in Cincinnati. I should know this. I'm gonna go with fiction.
I think it's fiction. I don't know. The statement actually says in the U.S. So
I think there might be one in the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a weird museum everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep. All right, number 3. Eating cookie dough can make you sick.
That is a fact, unless it's my cookie dough.
So my sheet says fiction, and that blew me away. I was like, yo, because my mom always told me, don't eat that, you're going to throw up. You're going to get sick.
It can get you, it's not supposed to, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But it can.
Okay. Probably if you eat too much of it, or?
No, so the thing that actually makes our cookie dough different than most other doughs is, other than the fact that there's no eggs in it, which you can eat raw eggs if you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Technically can. Our flour is heat treated. So our flour is baked before we actually make the cookie dough.
Okay.
And flour in the United States, over the last few years, there have been more and more salmonella outbreaks and E. coli outbreaks and other things in flour.
Okay.
So in the off chance that Pillsbury made their dough with some flour that had E. coli in it, and then you ate that dough at your house.
I got you.
That's what.
Then that would make you sick.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, number 4. Edible cookie dough franchises can be a great moneymaker.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and we know this to be true.
We know this
because
to be true.
All right, number 5. The first edible cookie dough cafe launched in London in 2017.
That's fiction.
Oh, boom, fiction. When did it launch?
Well, that one definitely launched in 2017.
Yep.
There is a shop, and a lot of people don't know this, and I don't even know the city anymore. It's in Illinois. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of like outside of Chicago. They launched in like the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been around
Trailblazers.
for a while.
Okay. All right. Number 6. You cannot make actual cookies from edible cookie dough.
You can.
Boom.
Depends. It depends. Can we go with it depends? Is there a middle answer?
No, just eat it. You don't bake
Yeah,
it.
you do just eat it.
Yeah.
I don't bake it.
But you don't bake it.
Yeah, we've had some influencers that get it.
Yeah.
And then their immediate go-to is like, well, I'm gonna bake this. And you're like, are you gonna bake it? Are you really? The package says no baked, but they'll bake it.
Yeah.
They eat part of it. I forget, there was one here in Nashville that did a whole Instagram. They did a whole Instagram like series of stories on I baked, no baked, and here's what happened. It went well.
Oh, okay. No, that's good. It went well.
Yeah.
All right, so last one. Let's see. Kristen Tomlin started the edible cookie dough trend.
That is fact.
Wow, really? Okay.
That's definitely a fact.
Yeah. Who is Kristen Tomlin?
I think her name's Kristen. I think she's the girl from New York that was on BuzzFeed.
I've heard
It was
the
a
name.
long time ago.
Okay.
It was like 5 years. I've heard
Like
Kristen.
a big time influencer or like
No,
just
she
person in the
has
news?
like a bakery.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, man. All right. Well, you know your stuff, man. You've been in business for a minute. So I just want to tell you guys, I got a quick bio, man, but I think it's cool because you went to school here in Nashville, Tennessee, at Belmont, and let's see, you studied finance, and prior to that, you were in sales and marketing at Jackson National. That's an insurance company, right?
Yeah, it's an insurance company.
Yeah, cool. And so, and it also says you were a consultant for the Tennessee Treasury Department.
Yeah, it was a fun job.
That sounds pretty important.
Yeah, I don't know if it was important, but I would call like the entrepreneur bug from like right out of college.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it, and so what that caused me to do was just hop job to job. So I was only out of college for a year and a half before NoBaked was my thing.
Oh, okay.
So in that year and a half, I did 3 different jobs.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
6 months a job.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
If you average it out. So I worked at one place right out of school for like 3 months. Got the job at Jackson. Worked there for probably 7 months, and then I just felt stagnant. I'm out here like looking at jobs on LinkedIn and stuff. Like, what can I do? Because I don't want to wait to get promoted.
Yeah.
Let me hop a job so I can get like a quote unquote promotion.
Yeah.
And I connected with these guys that were doing something for the state of Tennessee, and then they ended up pulling out of this contract that they had to help raise money for the college savings plan. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, if you guys are pulling out, then I don't have a job. And they're like, yeah.
Pretty much.
Sorry, but we'll introduce you to the people at the state. So I met a bunch of people at the Treasury Department, or Department of Treasury, and they gave me essentially the contract as an employee. So they were like, you can come work for us, do what you were gonna do.
Yeah.
You just don't get paid commission. And I was like, I'm not gonna do this for very long.
Yeah. It'll pay the bills, but
It'll pay the bills. I have no job right now. And
Yeah.
then NoBaked came along right after that, and I started to realize like my problem was I wanted control over where I was going.
Yeah.
And you don't have that when you work for other people.
Right.
Even if you're doing like your own side hustle thing, you have control over what's going on.
Yeah.
Like you might not feel like you have control sometimes when you first get into it, but you start to realize like I've got control over the actions I take every day, and if I do those things, then I'm at least like doing what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And like if I'm moving up in the world, it's because of like the actions I'm taking.
Yeah, you're in control of your destiny, so to speak, or the results.
Yeah, obviously there's a little bit of like luck, and there's different ways to like, you know, improve that luck or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, I mean, I preferred that to just being stuck. Like essentially, like, you know, you'll go into certain jobs where people are like, yeah, you can't get promoted for like the first 2 years. I'm like, well, why?
Yeah.
So I think that's the question that a lot of like people have coming out of college or even coming out of like high school. Like, what should I do? Mm-hmm. Why do I have to like answer this hierarchy of things?
Yeah.
And I don't know, Megan started the company, and then I joined her basically immediately because she recruited me to make cookie dough.
Were y'all dating?
We were dating.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were living together.
She's like, you my boyfriend, I need your help.
Yeah, we're living together, we're dating, so I was de facto like the guy that helped her make cookie dough. And I just realized real quickly, like she opened my eyes to the option that like you don't have to work for someone else.
Yeah.
And it was just knowing that option that like by that July, so we started in March, by that July, I looked at Megan, I was like, I'm gonna quit my job. And at the time, like my job was paying the rent. So she's like, sure. And I was like, you know what? Even if I have to go out on the side of the street and sell cookie dough to people to pay like my rent, to pay like for my car or like my phone bill or whatever, so be it.
Yeah.
Rather do that than work for someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that was the moment where like it clicked in my head, like, wait, like you can do this on your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think that happens for a lot of people who didn't grow up in like an entrepreneurial family.
Right.
Megan did.
Okay.
And I didn't necessarily.
Because she was doing that in college.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's not dive too deep into it.
Yeah,
I want to get into that story, but because the first thing, I love what you said though, because they're like our audience, they're entrepreneurs, right? And they want to learn how to grow their business, you know, just like you guys are doing, and they want to learn how, you know, to potentially use technology to grow their business, or certain tools or applications to, you know, be more efficient or productive or get out to the customer quicker, and things like that. So what we usually do here is we grab an article, right, that's relative to that subject. So I have an article, and I thought this was pretty cool, man. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. The title is 6 Technologies About to Seriously Shake Up E-commerce Delivery. Now, you guys deliver your product, right? All over the world or country?
All over the country.
Okay.
And this is actually a topic that I'm really interested in right now.
Okay.
Because through the last year, and I mean, you guys probably know this, you talk to any e-commerce founder, anyone in tech, and you'll start to realize that the thing that broke down last year and is actually still broken right now as we speak is UPS and FedEx.
Wow.
Broken. Like, your packages get lost more often right now, and I know that because of how many I ship, than ever before.
That's crazy.
The amount of people who have lost packages. I send a package via FedEx Ground, and it says like, oh, it's gonna get there Wednesday, and then it's like, oh, it gets here like Monday. I even have a friend that has a company that does steak, and he does 1-day shipping to buyers at like local like natural stores. So they'll sell their steak to those natural stores. Always 1-day shipping, like always on dry ice. And the other day he shows me that he sent me it was a screenshot from his phone of FedEx tracking, and it was like supposed to be delivered the next day, and then it was like delayed. Will be delivered in a week from then, and I was like, that steak's not gonna be good anymore, man.
Wow.
Like, that's not good. But that system started to break because so many people shifted online.
Yeah.
I mean, just on Shopify alone, there's 95,000 food stores. Like, people just selling food on Shopify.
Yeah, and you're shipping food. I mean, it's
weird.
You know,
it's weird, right?
Spoilage and all that stuff happens. So it identifies in this article just a couple of things, I guess, that are kind of disrupting or, you know, helping the industry, I would say. The number one thing caught my attention with drones. You know, so it says there's been a lot of talk about how drones will change the landscape of courier companies forever and shipping. And I just thought, you know, I saw this documentary once about Amazon, how they're, you know, incorporating drones in the shipping and deliveries. And is that something that you guys have thought about?
So it is, to a point, and actually, and I'll wait to see like how many other things you bring up before I like dive super deep into it, because I want to hear what else is in this article. But I think that I was in LA 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Actually I was doing a podcast, and then also working on setting up some partnerships with some ghost kitchens in the area.
Yeah.
So we've been onboarding with these ghost kitchens so we can sell on like DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats in different cities. Well, in LA, Postmates is actually piloting these robots, and I saw one.
Wow.
Where it looks like a little droid from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it has your food inside of it.
And so it's
it was driving down the sidewalk, asking people to get out of its way.
Wow.
And I was like, this is the craziest thing I have ever seen. But I think that kind of stuff is going to start to become more prevalent because, dude, right now, there are a lot of people after this, and actually our scoop shops are where this comes into play for me. Personally, but it's really, really hard to get good employees dedicated to their job, and like that wage range of like, call it like, now it's, you know, like 15 to like $30 an hour. Like a guy that wants to like do an hourly job, or even like a college student. Yeah. That's actually really hard to find right now. Yeah. Don't know why. I'm not.
Because they can go out and do Postmates.
Yeah. Yes.
They can go Uber, you know.
But it's really hard for Uber to find people too.
Oh, is
it? Like, you'll get an Uber right now, and Ubers are way more expensive than they've been. So like, I mean, I paid like $50 to go from Santa Monica to West Hollywood when I was out there too, which is crazy. Which I know there's a lot more restrictions, and now those people are like technically employees. And they have to have benefits in California. But I think drones are going to start to affect that industry, and the fact that like people have to automate. If you don't automate, you're going to be stuck relying on people. And like, there might be a year where like unemployment's a little higher, it's easier to get employees, and like people are taking jobs like that. But then there's always the thing like right now where it's like people want to stay at home. Like I think people discovered Upwork. is what I think
no
they
doubt.
like. They definitely discovered like, dude,
Or
I can
Fiverr.
freelance and do $25 an hour, not going to a job. Like if you were working as a manager at like a fast food place, you'd probably rather do that than that.
Oh, no question.
So now it's like,
crazy hours, and like you said, you're in control of your time and all that.
So now it's like, okay, how do you keep getting these jobs done? Well, it's like drones. That's
well, I don't even know if robots is in here. So the next one is radio frequency identification. What is that?
Oh, I kind of know what that is.
I don't know what this is.
Wait, so radio frequency identification.
Tags. It's electronic
RFI,
tags or
RFI tags.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what
just keeping up with product to see where it is. Like even in a warehouse, like if you got a lot of product,
because then it will show you where it is, like on a tracker. Yeah. I think for logistics, that's gonna start to revolutionize things.
So the next one, I'm gonna run through these. So the third one is autonomous warehouse vehicles. So that's like basically self-driving forklifts and stuff like that. The next one is platooning. You ever heard of that?
No.
So platooning it's a pattern of driving where freight trucks follow each other super close in order to take advantage of aerodynamics, and it reduces fuel consumption.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it reminded me
electric
of like
cars, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Because it says you still gotta have somebody to drive the truck. But I was just thinking about like, you know, you see triathlons or the Tour de France.
People draft.
Yeah, exactly. So that they
drafting.
Oh man, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And let's see, the last one here, it says last mile deliveries. So are you familiar with Uber Rush?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is actually what's revolutionizing what we do.
So how so? So explain last mile delivery and then
last mile delivery, the way it like works for like the logistics industry is like FedEx and UPS consistently will pass things off to the post office. There's a big gap there because the post office isn't very good at what they do. Especially during the pandemic, they were allowing a lot of people time off because they were like, hey, you don't have to come into work because of COVID. So then deliveries were getting delayed, and essentially UPS would get it to your city, but then the post office was responsible for getting it to your house, and it would sit in your city for like a week, and you'd be like, where's my package? So that hurts the e-com business because then your customers are really upset with you. So Uber started to see like I guess kind of like an area where they could innovate there and taking the place of the post office. The way that we're utilizing it at NoBaked is a little different, and we're actually working on piloting this right now, specifically for food companies. So I talked about the ghost kitchens. That allows us to, do DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, like have actual like quote unquote ghost storefronts in those cities, and that's cool because someone can hop on Uber Eats and like Uber Eats is my acquisition partner. So instead of running a Facebook ad, they're running ads for Uber Eats, and someone can discover you on the platform, just like a marketplace. So I pay them a commission. It's in line with our return on advertising right now. So the economics work out for me. I'm selling more product, pumped. Well, there's a really cool feature that you can actually do with that too, where DoorDash offers white label delivery. So if an order comes through your website, and I'm probably botching some of the words on this, but like if there's like buzzwords that DoorDash uses, I'm sorry, DoorDash. DoorDash will charge you $5.99 as the vendor to deliver that order, but no more. No percentage, no commission, no nothing. So they've essentially taken the place of a fulfillment partner or a FedEx. Like I pay FedEx $12 to deliver the package ground to the other side of the country, or I can pay DoorDash $5.99 to deliver it in a certain city. The problem there is obviously like you don't have fulfillment centers in every city. But partnering with Cloud Kitchens, which is a subsidiary of City Storage Systems, really cool company that's kind of like reinventing like inner city real estate. They're making these ghost kitchens, and now they're allowing people like me, so CPG companies, to send them packaged product, and they'll fulfill orders for us for DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. So that solves the problem of having a warehouse there. So now currently, as of today, we have 20 plus different metro areas where we have those kind of
and you can just sell through DoorDash in those cities, in those markets.
And so what we're working on is building a Shopify integration, which is an app that we want to launch for ourselves, and then hopefully for other businesses like us, where people will be able to go to our website, buy a product and get same day shipping.
Nice.
And it will be like a DoorDash driver will bring it to your door.
So you guys are working on building that?
We're working on
application?
building out that application,
Yeah.
and actually it might be a different company. We want to test it with NoBaked first.
Yeah.
It's a big problem for NoBaked. So our biggest 2 complaints are ship times.
Yeah.
Our second biggest complaint is melty cookie dough.
Okay.
So our cookie dough doesn't go bad necessarily when it's out of the refrigerator, but it does lower its shelf life, and to be honest, doesn't look great. Like
Yeah.
if you get
Yeah.
melty product,
Yeah.
the same thing with like a refrigerated protein bar. It's gonna melt. Even a non-refrigerated protein bar, if it's sitting in the Texas heat, 100 degrees for a few days, it's gonna melt, and it looks bad on you as the brand.
Right.
And when you're selling food, your number one thing is taste, like appearance. What does it look like? And you want all those things to be spot on.
Yeah.
The customer's not coming back. So this solves that problem for us intimately. So it's something that NoBaked struggles with.
So
And
there's no
because it's our-
DoorDash like integration with Shopify right now for that?
No.
Wow.
No, so there's no back-end app. It's definitely something we're having built and we want to build. But it's cool because it's like, hey, there's not necessarily a perfect solution for this right now. There are a couple companies that have something that's sort of okay. So right now the problem is if you use any of the other integration companies that help you integrate with DoorDash, and they'll do it on any website. They essentially are a plugin.
Yeah.
One of the companies called FlipDish. They're a great company for restaurants. So FlipDish allows you to do this with DoorDash, but white label it so it looks like your site. But the customer still has to pick local delivery. So if you up in the top of the homepage, it says about shop nationwide, local delivery, something else. You have to pick local delivery.
Yeah.
If you don't think you're local.
Okay.
So if you're doing what I'm doing and you have these ghost kitchens,
Yeah.
someone might not know they're local.
Yeah.
So the idea is to take the decision away from the customer.
Yeah,
They don't want to make that decision.
Right.
Instead, the customer should just go to the website and then be given the best shipping option for them.
Yeah.
That's what Amazon does.
Yeah.
And Amazon does it, by just doing it at scale with these giant warehouses. But for us, it's like you can work with things like ghost kitchens. You can get creative. You can work with DoorDash. There's a lot of cool things I think people can do in that industry, because the other problem it solves is FedEx can't lose my package if it's already in your city. And then a DoorDash driver picks it up and takes it there.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot more problems with orders being wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of warehouses to manage and a lot of different moving parts. But once you start to get it right and get the right team in place, it's been working for us well for the last month.
Wow.
And we don't have the integration built.
Yeah.
But just working through Uber Eats and DoorDash themselves, and then through our local delivery page, we're getting good traction and good customer feedback. I think customers are more happy to get their product. Like if you order food, you don't want to get it tomorrow or next week.
Right.
And get it right now.
Yeah. So are you guys are you a programmer?
No.
Okay, so you guys are kind of outsourcing.
I can code, but not that well. I'm not gonna sit over here and say I'm a programmer. No, I have some business partners that are working with me on it.
No, that's sweet, man. Especially if you can make it work and then provide that as a service, whether you license it or white label it to other companies.
I think it's gonna kill it for NoBaked, and we'll see what happens. And then if it works for NoBaked, because there's a lot of problems, right? There's not that many ghost kitchens out there yet, and there's a real estate problem and an operations problem behind it that I think will be a big issue. But if we can make it work for NoBaked, we can create a use case.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, man, how you guys got started. I know you guys you and Megan, your wife, went to Belmont. You're dating her, and she's got this cookie dough business, right? So did she start it in college, or is it a family business?
So she started it herself in March of 2017. So after college.
Oh, after college, okay.
She'd been making the recipe and doing different entrepreneurial things, but she was really focused on working in the music industry. So Megan actually graduated from Belmont with a music business degree.
Okay.
Got a job in the industry, switched jobs a couple times, ended up at a large publisher and hated her job. And she would come home and just be like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Don't really want to do this. I went to school for this. I dedicated my life to this. Now I hate it. Then it's not great.
Wow.
It's not a great place to be. So we were both kind of in the same boat. I wasn't admitting that yet, but we both were in a place where we didn't like what we were doing, and we felt like other people were in control of our lives, because that's the reason she really didn't like the music industry. You get paid half the money to do a job you would do in any other industry the same, and you're waiting years to get some kind of promotion into another desk job that's really nothing great. And she didn't like sitting behind a desk. So she started thinking of like, what can I do or sell that I've been doing that has value? And so she'd been making this cookie dough recipe for years, thought, you know, here's something that I make that I can sell, that I know I do really well. And I'd go out and try to sell it online. So she set up a website, got like 10, 12 orders, and then walked out of her job.
What? So, wow. And so y'all were dating at this time, right?
We were dating.
Y'all were dating. So did she come to you before she starts it and was like, yo, I'm gonna start this?
Yeah,
this website.
She was asking me questions about it. I was testing recipes for her.
Yeah.
I was the taste tester.
So after, how soon did she sell the 10 or 12 like orders?
So that was the first day.
That was the first day.
She did this really cool thing on Instagram where she launched the brand she gave free product to a bunch of people here in Nashville, like micro influencers. Yeah. And they all posted about it. Okay, gotcha. On the same day, and it kind of like built up this cool traction.
So she's a marketer. I mean, she knows.
A serious guerrilla marketer.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, go out, get some people to post about you, get some social proof.
Definitely.
The only problem was she didn't know how to ship cookie dough. And she didn't think that far ahead, and then she got the 10 or 12 orders, and that's why ended up getting her to walk out of her job. She was like, you know, if I walk out, I'm definitely never going back to the music industry, but also I have to ship these orders today, and I don't even know how you ship cookies. So I remember that conversation because I actually went and picked her up after she left.
That is crazy.
And then we went.
She must have really hated her job, man. She left that day.
She didn't like it. But yeah, it was a weird time. But then the brand equity built on Instagram over the next few months. We did some pop-ups with Belmont. We had some cool trial and error moments, like making cookie dough at a commercial scale because we didn't really know what we were doing. And then we had this really cool moment, which I think sent me over the edge and sent me toward July, where I quit my job, which we did this thing called the Centennial Spring Bash, which is like a maker festival over in Centennial Park. And we had a line for the whole 2 hours we were there. Wow. Sold like 400 things of cookie dough. One of the girls from Maddie and Tay bought cookie dough from us, I think. It's a while ago, but that happened, and that was weird because we were just like, wow, how do you know about this? Like, why you actually want to buy the product that we're selling? Like, that's cool. Yeah. And that's a weird thing to see. And it was cool to see all these people kind of gather around it because they were like, well, this is a really cool product. It's local. We really like it. It's quality, and we're going to support it. And so those things gave us confidence early on to quit our jobs. Eventually, by October 2017, we got our first store open. We really hustled to get that first store open. So it was like, take out all of the credit cards we can, max them out, build a bunch of things ourselves.
Did y'all have to do a build out in the space?
Not really. So it used to be a restaurant. So like all the build out that we did was like us and then like some subcontractors and just kind of like changing things aesthetically, which was still a pain. It took like 6 weeks of like us working like 16 hours a day, like on the website, still shipping orders, trying to get the store built. But it was a lot of fun, man. Like, we were living over in Hillsborough Village, and the store was actually right off of West End, so it was about a mile from our apartment. And I just remember we would wake up at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, drive over there, start working on stuff. We actually had a Postmates tablet, so Postmates drivers were coming up into the construction site and getting cookie dough and taking it to people. Yeah. We were packing orders. We had some chest freezers in there that had cookie dough in them. The whole thing was crazy. And then we were doing physical like work, like getting the store ready to go and like painting things, and it was still a lot of fun. We also tiled the back wall, which I'll never tile anything ever again. The rest of my life.
Yeah. So when you say though, like y'all pulled out the credit cards and all that stuff, was that just to secure the place, the location?
Secure the location and to just buy the materials to build it. Okay. And also to buy all the restaurant equipment. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It ended up being like, I think $50,000-$60,000. And then the grand opening going as well as it did, which it just went off. It was like, we had this Facebook event. People were saying they were going to come. We didn't know if it was real. It was like 10,000 people said they were going to show up. We were like,
dang.
I don't know.
What'd you just do, an invite on Facebook?
Yeah, well, we started marketing the event on Facebook.
Okay.
and we started promoting it on Instagram a little bit, and I think all of that excitement around the brand that we had built up from doing pop-ups all summer just kind of culminated in this one giant event where there's like famous people coming through to buy cookie dough. There's a 2-hour-long line. The whole thing's crazy.
Yeah.
You feel validated because this concept that you've built has like a line of people like lined up to actually try it, to buy it, to experience it. So that was really cool. And I mean, moving on from that, like our goal was we're gonna franchise, we're gonna build scoop shops, and then we leaned into it way too hard. And the thing I always tell a lot of other entrepreneurs, like when they ask me about like our stories, you know, why'd you guys choose to pivot? Because now we're a CPG company. Now we do e-commerce. Like we don't focus on our scoop shops anymore. We have very few of them left, and it's like we had a plan, right? So like we're gonna build this brand, it's gonna sell stuff online, we're gonna open this store. And then we didn't really have a plan after that. We started chasing money.
Yeah.
So it was like, I have to open more stores in order to make more money. I have to sell franchises in order to get more points of distribution, make more money. And it wasn't like chasing brand equity. So it wasn't chasing like, what's the product quality? Like what customer experiences are people having? Like, or do we have control over the brand still? Like, do we have control over what's happening? And Megan and I, we got to October 2019, 2 years later, we have 8 stores open. And we're like, we just don't feel right anymore about this. Our franchisees aren't doing that well. They weren't really like, they weren't the right franchisees for a brand as small as ours. They were really good business owners, not really good entrepreneurs. And they were all pretty busy too. Like most of them still had full-time jobs. They were just owning the store as like a side thing. And I even had a candid conversation with one of our franchisees a year ago or 2 years ago now, where he was like, dude, if you sell another franchise, sell it to someone where this is their full-time job. Because you needed like full-time people in there grinding because it's a new brand. So we got into that situation. We're like, okay, where do we go from here? So we put together this plan in September of 2019. We're gonna pivot the company to CPG.
Wow.
Close some stores down, like come up with this plan, framework, say we built a pitch deck, we were gonna raise some money to help us do it, which ended up not happening. And then you fast forward to March of 2020. And we're really low in cash, like super, super low. Like we hadn't paid ourselves in months, didn't pay our own apartment rent in February of 2020.
Wow.
Like we were broke. And it was all because we had built all of these stores, go through the winter, they're not doing well. They're gonna do well in March is the theory, because we always do really well in March. And you know, you'd really like leverage yourself up to the brim, like building and building and building, knowing that like, okay, in the long run, things are gonna work out. And I'm working really hard, like driving up to Cincinnati because we lost our manager and doing all this other stuff. And you get to March of 2020, you're forced to shut all the stores down. And I'd been out trying to raise money, telling people we were gonna pivot. So trying to raise money based on this new concept, this new idea that we had. And investors just kept telling me like, well then just go pivot. And I just kept being like, well, I can't get out of leases. I can't just close things down and stop this other business and pivot to this other thing. That's just too hard. Like I need money to do it. And
COVID was like, no, you don't.
COVID was like, no, you don't need money. You need a government mandate. But it was wild. We shut all our stores down March 16th, and it just put us in a position where it was like, all right, next day, like that Monday, it's like March 17th, we're shipping online orders. And we're getting serious about how we're doing influencer marketing. We're gonna ask our customers for help. We're gonna tell them the situation. We're gonna get all our employees in here. We're gonna start packing online orders, start making cookie dough, start running online ads. Really cool community of people here in Nashville that rallied around us, helping us learn like digital ads, learn how to do fulfillment really quickly. By the end of March, so we had been doing like 20 grand a month in online sales. Not the main source of our revenue at all. By the end of March, we were doing like 80 grand a week.
Oh wow! It was just by focusing on that.
It was
just
wild.
Driving
all your attention.
Wow!
And actually putting in effort, consistent effort, and also
80 grand a week.
Yeah, and small little things of luck, right? So like Facebook ads. It so happens that between March 2020 and June of 2020 were the cheapest they had been since 2014, like per click. And that's just because like big companies pulling their ad budgets. They're scared. Everyone was scared. And the people that chose to lean into that, you'll hear all these success stories of like, dude, I was getting like 15x, 16x on my advertising dollars, like crazy things that don't happen usually. And that combined with like, you know, you get the PPP loans, you get right timing at the right time. We had really great influencers post about us, people that, you know, believed in our brand and wanted us to succeed. A really great team of people, our employees. We could not have shipped all those orders and hand scooped, by the way, all of those jars. Like we didn't have a manufacturer. We hand scooped in July of 2020 20,000 jars of cookie dough by hand. And it's like you can't do that without a huge team. So like we just had a lot of really cool people help us, and a lot of the right things happen at the right time. Not saying it was easy. It was a nightmare. It was like hand scooping all those jars took like 12 hours a day, every day. It was like going in there and packing boxes. Like, guess what? It's not that easy, and it's not that quick to pack 100 boxes a day of like pick and pack products.
Let me ask you this. Did you guys ever like went up to the point where, you know, you said you were broke? You know, did you guys ever consider, you know what, maybe this ain't gonna work?
No.
You never considered that?
That was actually, so this is cool. This is a cool.
Okay, hold that thought, because we're gonna take a quick break. Do a commercial break. We'll come right back.
Go for it.
All right. Hey y'all, just a quick second. Let me take this off. Just a quick second about one of our sponsors, Comcast Business. As you may know, Comcast offers internet, voice, and TV service for businesses, okay? But what you might not have known is there are several features and options within each of those segments, okay? So for voice, for example, you can get POTS lines or digital lines or voice over IP lines, a PRI. There's a lot of different options, and based on your business needs, you may need to reach out to us, My Tech Partners, to get those options, because we can deliver them in seconds. So if you need help shopping within Comcast Business or whatever cable companies in your area, reach out to mytechpartners.com. We'd love to help. Holla. So you said when you were broke, and you got all these stores, and it never crossed you and your wife's mind, hey, maybe this is not the deal.
Dude, I mean, no, and that's actually, so Megan, okay, I'll really paint the picture for you. So coming through the winter, we lose our manager in Cincinnati. I have to drive up to Cincinnati every few days. This is January. We're running super low on cash, starting to burn cash, because the stores didn't do very well in like December. Starting to go cash flow negative. We'd been cash flow negative for a few months, but not like heavily. So first heavy month of like negative cash flow. Don't have a lot of money in the bank. Didn't really coming into winter at all. We had like 40 grand. Like it's a very small amount of money for a company that's doing like, our payroll at the time was like $20,000 every 2 weeks. So you don't have a lot of cash in the bank. Got a whole lot of people working for you. Really good people that I, you know, have helped build the company into what it is today. So, you know, like I'm responsible for making sure they can pay their bills. And that's our main priority. So, you know, like just struggling to make payroll. Like we were driving around. There were certain weeks in February where we'd drive around to all the stores, collect all of the petty cash we could, and put it in the bank. To make sure we can make payroll. And there were weeks where like we took money out of our personal account and put it into the business account to make payroll. So we're doing that in January and February, and I'm like working my tail off. At the same time, Megan is 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
So like we had our daughter in March of 2020. So like she's working 40 hours a week in the stores, 8 months pregnant. I'm working 40 hours a week in the stores here, going up to Cincinnati, spending the night there, working up there. And then also we're trying to do that pivot, right? So I'm trying to network with as many people as I can when I'm not working, and talk to investors about like, you know, like there's potential in NoBaked. Like we've built something really cool here. A lot of brand equity. We've sold a lot of product. There's a lot of people that love our product, which means that it can work. Because at the end of the day, when you're at that level, and I'll tell any entrepreneur this, side hustle, you're gonna make money. Small one-shop business, you better be making profit, which we were. And then it's like you start to scale out between like 1 and 10 million in revenue, you're gonna lose a lot of money. You make a lot of mistakes.
Hold on, repeat that. Woo, because a lot of entrepreneurs want to get to the million in revenue status. You know,
then it's like that's when it starts to hurt.
And then they think, oh, I made it.
And the work piles up.
That's when it starts. You know what I mean?
It starts.
It's a new game.
It starts to become like a startup as opposed to like a small business, and that's hard. It's a lot of work, and like so we're in that world, right? Didn't pay our own apartment rent. We actually lived in Germantown, so then the tornado hit our apartment, like not near our apartment, didn't hit our apartment. So our power's out, the office is closed.
That was in March, right?
Yeah.
The tornado.
Yeah. So then they just didn't try to draft our rent the next month, so we were like, all right, March 2020, I guess not paying rent either. And we're sitting there like, what are we doing? I just don't know. And I'm trying to like finish our books up from the last year, like by myself, because we let our bookkeeper go because we need to save money. And I had this weird feeling of peace, like right before COVID and right after it happened, of being like, because Megan had asked me, it's when your back's against the wall, you start brainstorming. You start being like, okay, what are we gonna really do? Like we seriously, like we don't know how many more weeks we can make it like this. And it doesn't look like March is gonna do very well because there's this virus in China and like we don't know what's gonna happen. So this is like beginning of March. I had this weird feeling of peace when I started talking to Megan about it, and we started just being like, you know what? No matter what happens, always gonna be an entrepreneur. Like even if I have to drive for Uber, even if I have to like go out and like hustle doing random things, like I'm not going back to working for other people. And I'm gonna make this brand work. I know there's something here, I have to make it work. So even if I have to do that stuff in order to make this brand work, I'm gonna do that because I'd rather be doing this than something else. And I also had one other thing that I realized through talking with Megan at that time. Nobody can put us out of business. I was like, we have an SBA loan and that's it. So like we don't have really any debt. We do have leases we have to pay. If we default on those leases, which I have found out through time, the landlord's not suing you to put you into bankruptcy. They're just not. They're going to come up with some kind of deal that's going to allow you to either stay in the space or make sure that they can get the space released and like it's
because they want their money
for them. They want their money and they don't want to watch you struggle. They don't want that. So no one's trying to put me into bankruptcy. There's not a ton of debt. We're really building something here, and I'm like, if you wake up every morning and you say, all right, I'm gonna make this happen, I'm gonna go out and sell my product, no one's gonna stop you. Now, I'm not trying to encourage people into building zombie companies, because that is a thing. Like, you can be leaning into an idea way too much.
Right.
But at this point, it's like
you have to resolve.
It just had been a couple of years, and it was like things are going well from the outside. Sales are growing, like things are moving in the right direction. We just have to figure out the model.
No, that's a good point though, because I think sometimes like entrepreneurs, you know, if you had a brand, right?
Yeah.
You had success, like you said, the sales were growing, so you had the trick or the indication.
Dude, check this out. So like we're in the Entrepreneur Center. Megan got the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award in 2019. That ceremony was literally right around the time that we were like not paying our rent. So it was weird, right? Because like from the outside, it looks like things are going really well for NoBaked, and then it was like, but internally, no, for us, they're not.
But it's like the roller coaster kind of, you know, and it's almost like the journey you have to go through. You know what I mean? In order to get to that next level, we're gonna dip, but that's gonna springboard us up to where we need to be. Yeah,
and you have to have vision. Like, I mean, if you know, like, oh, I can pivot here. So, like, for us, it was the product, right? So, like, product is good. What we know, all that we know, even to this day, all we know is that our cookie dough is best on the market. If that's what we know, then that means we need to figure out distribution. Like, how do you get it to the customer in a profitable way? If you have customers and they want your product, then it's like, it's literally just that. And that's why it's profitable when it's a side hustle and profitable when it's just one shop. Because it's small scale, it's really easy to figure that out. Once we started building out more shops or like things started happening, then it's like you lose control over like that distribution cost, which for us at the time was like payroll for employees, rent for shops, all these other fixed costs. Pivoting to a CPG company through the pandemic allowed us to switch up our business model. No more fixed costs. Everything's variable. We have a manufacturer, we pay them net 30. It's a variable per unit cost. So I know exactly what's going into the cost of goods. Online ads, like you target an ROA, you only have to spend so much money. It's a variable cost. You can pull ads at any time. Other than our salaries, everything's variable. Even fulfillment, like you pay your fulfillment center per order. Like everything is built into that order cost. So like then you start to really understand your unit economics. You start to really understand like how to like make sure as a CPG company with a really niche product, like we can make this work. Because when you're running a scoop shop for NoBaked, so the one down on Broadway does incredible.
Yeah.
Because that one's getting 2,000 customers a week.
So, and a scoop shop is just what people come in and they get a scoop or two.
They get a scoop or two of cookie dough, or they get a milkshake with cookie dough in it, or a sundae. But at the end of the day, you have to have, if you're getting like $11 per customer in the door, you have to have 800, 700 customers a week to make it really kill it. And if you're not getting that, which as a dessert shop, I'll be the first person to say that's not easy. That is the hardest thing to do in the world, because on a Monday night, you're not getting that. Monday during the day, you're definitely not getting that. That means you need even more customers on the Saturday. And that same sort of thing started to continue, or you need like a big catering business.
Yeah.
So we started to recognize the unit economics were stacked against us with the scoop shops, unless you were in a place like the shop on Broadway. That shop's doing, last month they did like 65 grand in sales.
Nice.
And it's like, that is insane, but it just has so many people walking.
So how many scoop shops do y'all have now?
Right now, currently open, we have 5.
Okay.
2 franchisees remain open, and then we have 3 corporate shops. 2 of them are here in Nashville. We're probably going to be closing down everything outside of Nashville eventually. That's kind of the plan.
Yeah. Where are they outside of Nashville?
So we have 1 in Cincinnati, 1 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then 1 in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
I think that the scoop shop model can work. Is the thing, like
as a franchise,
as a franchise, and also as like a more broad dessert shop. You know, a better milkshake menu, a better sundae menu, and also a really big catering business. I think that there's a lot of like, there's legs behind it, and I'm using the shop on Broadway to prove that. Also using it to like forward the brand, because the goal for us as a company, not to get off track, is grow the brand, sell the product, and do that in the most efficient way possible, which is not the scoop shops. Scoop shops aren't efficient. Going to grocery stores and going online is super efficient, and it helps us get our product to our customers the best way possible. And that's the thing that we really care about. Like, that's our number one value. Well, our number one value is flavor first, but our number one value past that is put the customer first. And the customer-centric mindset is make this really easy for them to get.
Yeah.
As easy as possible.
So are you guys in grocery stores as well?
We're in a few independent stores.
Yeah.
We're not in any grocery stores right now. We have a really, really cool partnership coming down the road with a convenience chain, which I can't announce yet because there's no like order in hand. But I think it's going to happen. And I have a lot of really cool meetings coming up over the next few months with buyers at grocery stores. I mean, that's
nice.
It's not a high margin business, but it's something that
it's about volume.
It's a volume game, and it's also like something that we can be proud of.
Yeah.
That again, it's variable, and it's not something that's going to like put you out of business.
So what's your role now? It sounds like it's business development or.
So my role now is moved to like kind of like chief sales officer, chief strategy officer. So like I'll go out and do like meetings with buyers, try to figure out how to get us into the grocery stores. I've been trying to kind of put together the e-com strategy as far as like fulfillment with that like Shopify integration, and just trying to put the pieces in place for the company to succeed. Megan's role is more like marketing and product.
Okay.
And we actually just brought on a really cool friend of mine as kind of like our pseudo COO. So he has an operations background from Ancient Nutrition and some other really cool places. And he's going to be helping us out with operations, because up until this point, that's been a really big pain point for us as an e-com brand. There's just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
As far as like fulfillment, and I wish it was as easy as like order comes through, someone puts it in a box and it just goes out, gets to their doorstep. Like that's the theory. But when you start managing multiple different warehouse locations, different business channels, inventory that spoils, so we have a shelf life, and dealing with those things, then you just have to get smart.
Yeah.
And having someone that knows what they're doing, I think is going to be really helpful.
Well, yeah, it always is. So how many team members do you guys have? How big is your team?
So right now we have 4 full-time employees. Myself, Megan, our operations manager, Lexi, who is amazing. She picks up all the pieces that are falling through the cracks, and wears many hats. And then we have Melanie, who's our regional manager here in Nashville. She works on our scoop shops. That's kind of like her whole thing. So she runs that business unit, and she does a killer job, amazing job. And then my friend that I'm bringing on is kind of like our other, like, hopefully full-time employee next. And we're actually hiring a marketing manager right now.
Gotcha.
Other than that, it's just, part-time people at the scoop shops, or like part-time commission-based people for like pop-ups and like sales.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in that, and then also outsourcing. So like if you add our outsourced partners, then you've got our marketing agency, our PR agency. Like,
are they running all your like Facebook ads and stuff like that? Yeah. Definitely. Gotcha.
Those people, the people that help us design the website, and are helping us work on like the Shopify integration. Like,
gotcha.
I consider them team members.
Yeah.
And I think you should treat everyone like that. I mean, the thing that we've really, really learned over the last few years has just been treat people as if they're just like, you guys are all on a team together. Like, no one's working for me, they're working with me, and we're all working toward like this goal down at the end of who knows how long this road is. And that's been really, really helpful to kind of like think about it that way. And I consider Megan and myself good entrepreneurs, but we weren't necessarily great managers, I think, until this year. And that's something that I think comes with a lot of time. And
Was
a lot
that
of
trial and
experience.
error or like experience?
Trial and error, yeah. Experience and trial and error.
Just screwing it up, pissing people off, and
people telling you like you're kind of not that great sometimes.
right. No, so I mean that's how it is. You gotta learn. School of hard knocks, because when you're actually in school, and when I was in college, they didn't teach me how to be a good manager, or they didn't teach me how to be an entrepreneur. They teach you textbook stuff, but you gotta go out there and apply it, and that's when the real learning starts.
It is,
for sure.
Yeah.
So where do you see the business down the road, like 5-10 years from now? You guys just want to blow this thing out the water, or do you want to sell it?
So that is kind of it's kind of a two-pronged question. So the first thing, like the vision, what we really want to see, like our main mission, like you ask us, like, what is your guys' like big goal, like your big 5-year goal? It's just the product to be available to every household in America. Not a dollar value, not any kind of revenue figure, simply like if someone wants it, they can get it, and they can get it today. That's the main goal.
That's a clear vision. That's a clear goal.
As far as like vision, like me describing what the future looks like for us, like I see us having a really, really cool partnership with Cloud Kitchens. I see us doing same day delivery for essentially like 80% of our online traffic, and I see that being like a $10 million business. And the economics and the proof to get there is already there. Like we started growing toward that figure. And I see that business and that demand driving our partnership with grocery stores. So as far as grocery stores go, like 5 years from now, we're not going to be in every grocery store. We'll definitely work toward that. But originally, like what we're really looking for in grocery partners, and we found some of them already, is people that will allow us to be true partner to them, to treat it like, we want this coming off the shelf. We know it's weird. We know a lot of people haven't heard of it. We need to sample. We need to do promotions. We need you guys willing to like help us out, like placing us in the right place on the shelf, and partner together to make sure that customers discover this product, because they have to discover it. And
be educated about it too, because I didn't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I wasn't familiar with it.
No, it's something where you have to educate your customers. And I think that's a thing with every business. If you're doing something new, or something that's like especially B2B, which I mean I consider most of what we do now B2B, because you're selling to grocery stores and educating them on why it's a good solution for them on their shelf, like why we can help them make more money. And that's just always like an education like conversation. Like, let me tell you about my product. Let me learn about your business. I've been trying to learn a lot more about how grocery stores work. Because, if you're trying to sell them something, you might as well understand where they're coming from. But I'm super new to that. I don't claim to be an expert.
No, it's a different game. And so you guys went from, like you said, being broke, not paying February's rent or March, to now, like in 2021. What are y'all's numbers public, or where are you guys now in terms of like revenue?
So we grew really, really well in 2020. You can find our revenue if anyone's interested. You can go on our Start Engine page. where we're currently crowdfunding. Find out about all our financials from last year. This year, we're on track to essentially match last year. And the reason behind that has mainly been a struggle figuring out how to profitably grow with Facebook ads, which I don't know if that's possible. And the more that's also what's driven us into like creative things like the Cloud Kitchens partnership. We've really we hit this ceiling online where it was like we want to grow more, like we want to grow beyond call it like $1.5 million in online sales. And then we were finding that our return on ad spend was just getting lower and lower to a point where we were just like, our biggest month ever was August of 2020. We did like $200,000 in sales, and it was like we didn't make any money. And like we were looking at the month and we're like, why didn't we make any money? It's like we spent like 60 grand on ads. Like it was weird. And then there was like, and then on shipping costs alone, like we spent another like 30 grand, 40 grand, and it's like, we're eating this thing alive. So figuring out how to sustainably grow has actually been a big conversation lately, because we're not venture backed. So we're doing crowdfunding right now. We're definitely thinking about raising money, but without like a big VC budget like behind you. It's really hard to burn money on ads.
So you guys have a campaign going right now on Start Engine? All right, so check them out, y'all, on Start Engine. Crowdfunding. When does the campaign end, or is there?
Campaign ends, I believe, in a month. Are you guys? Is this campaign focused on something in particular? No, we were actively allowing our customers to kind of like become more true partners with us. So Megan and I hadn't even publicized it that much. We definitely told people about it. We were hammering on it in the beginning. Told our networks about it. I think it's a really great tool for any entrepreneur if they're trying to raise a little bit of money, especially from your network. It makes it super easy. But it's definitely an expensive way to raise money. So it's an expensive form of capital. And by that, I mean just like the fees on top of the platform are really expensive, and they try to talk you into doing ads, which we did.
Oh, really? That makes sense. Now, are you familiar with WeFunder.com? Because we have those guys on.
Did you have Reed on here?
Who do we have? We have Reed. Reed Zell.
Reed's a really cool guy.
And Ryan too. But no, that's cool, man. So check them out, y'all, on Start Engine. And man, I appreciate you coming in. That's a crazy story. Like, I was NoBaked Cookie Dough, and then but there's so much meat in it because you guys are entrepreneurs. So you're giving that insight there. But I love how you guys are, utilizing technology, man, to try to make that thing grow.
It's all about like building the right software stack behind what you're doing. Like, we live in 2021, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, anybody could have, people start, hustles, right? And they open up a shop or a pop up, and they don't think like you do. They don't think like you and Megan have, as it relates to, creating this integration with Shopify, or, doing the Facebook ads and building your team the way you have. So it's pretty commendable, man.
Thank you.
What you guys have done, and to be able to push through, to have the tenacity to push through is cool too.
I think that's the main thing. If anyone think away from like my story or like mine and Megan's, when we were at our lowest, I felt real good for no apparent reason. I just felt very positive about the future. It's like, put that vision together, have a path forward. If there's a path forward, then there's at least a path forward. Like, you can be broke, you can be in the worst possible situation, but if you can actually see like ABC, like all the steps in between, not all of them, but most of them, like at least you're going somewhere. Like, you know where you can go.
Don't give up, don't quit. Hey, there it is. All right, man. Well, appreciate you, man. Again, thanks for sharing. I know folks listening definitely got some takeaways, and leave some comments. Let us know what you thought about this conversation and all that good stuff. Hey, man, I got a gift for you and Megan. So I got a TechDontSleep tee.
Sweet.
This is looks pretty big, man. But I got a black one and a gray one. Boom.
Let's go.
So the rule is, man, you just got to wear these out, man.
I will.
You know what I'm saying? Don't wear in the bed. Wear up to the grocery store, or when you walk in.
Get it out.
Walk in.
I'm gonna walk around like this.
Yeah, right, there you go. You can do that too. For sure. And man, we want to thank our sponsors for sponsoring this show, making this podcast possible, especially the recent event we had last month, our podcast launch. So a special shout out to Comcast Business. Definitely, guys. Listen, at My Tech Partners, we help businesses shop for internet, phone, and TV service. Okay, and we do that by representing all these carriers. So Comcast Business is one of the main carriers that we represent. So if you need internet for your business, no matter where you are in the country, reach out to us, and we'll help you shop Comcast Business offers so that we can get you set up and you get cool Wi-Fi and fast internet. All right. Special shout out to the Big Leaf Networks and Your6.com. We appreciate you guys sponsoring the podcast and our upcoming and previous events. All right, man. Thanks again for coming through. And y'all hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Holla at y'all later. Peace.
Just be smooth.
Feeman, the co-founder of NoBaked Cookie Dough, and I'm here in one of our scoop shops. I'd love to show you guys around and show you some of the flavors. You can come over here. So in our scoop shops, we have way more flavors than we have online. And occasionally we have seasonal flavors that are incredible. Not to say all of our flavors aren't amazing, but sometimes when you come in here, you can get really, really lucky. Right now we have double chocolate chip, and soon we're going to have a chocolate Oreo. But watch out this fall because we have all kinds of pumpkin flavors coming. Come down and visit our scoop shop in Nashville, Tennessee and find out what we're all about.